Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I'm God-woken.
And I'm Claire, and I'm living in Arcadia Bay.
And this is Make That Game,
where we pitch the latest,
the greatest
new video game ideas
that will never, ever get made.
Ooh.
We don't make them.
You took that Make That Game real fast. We're on the fast track.
Oh, yeah. We're speedrunning. We've got to get through this. There's a lot to get through today.
Yeah, there's a lot to get through today.
Is there?
Yeah, because we have a listener game.
Oh, yes, we do.
Which is one more game pitch than normal.
That's actually, you're right. Yeah, and actually that's good to start with.
Yeah.
Because we technically had this last time. I just forgot to bring it up at any point because I was planning on doing it after us. But it makes sense to do it now.
So, to set the scene, we pitch video games on this podcast.
Yes, we do.
And usually Isaac and I just give each other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And pitch them back and forth. But sometimes listeners will write in and give us game ideas to share on the podcast. And that's what's happened now. So we are going to share that before jumping into our own pitches.
Yes. Now, I am reciting this from memory because this pitch was not presented in the preferred format of like a single like bullet pointed email or anything.
At makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. It was a little bit scattered, so I'm doing it from memory, trying to remember the compilation of it. So listener Larry, if I misrepresent your idea at all, email us at makethatgame@gmail.com.
Make That Game Podcast
@gmail.com. And tell us your discontent. Comment on our YouTube videos, etc., etc. So his idea was, this is a little awkward. You'll see why later, but
okay.
You are a time-traveling cryptid hunter.
Uh-huh.
And so just recollecting here. Time-traveling cryptid hunter. And so you get cryptids from different points in time.
Carmen Sandiego, but cryptids.
And then those cryptids, like, you put them on, like, a spaceship of some sort, or, like, a cryptid ranch outside of the space-time continuum.
Okay. Very fantastic beasts.
And they like, age, and they gain maturity, and they gain stats, and then you can like assign other cryptids for them to then watch over.
Oh, okay.
And then based on the stats of the first cryptids that are like watching over other cryptids, the stats of the younger cryptids get affected. Okay. And it's just one of those like infinite play, like get the best cryptid kind of games. I think he mentioned something about like there being a time mystery that you have to solve.
We love a time mystery.
And there was also something about a coconut tree, but I don't remember I think you can send bad cryptids, like ones that have bad stats, to a coconut tree. And I don't know what that entails. That sounds like sending them upstate to a nice farm upstate, but the coconut tree comment seems topical. I don't know if they're tied together. That part was never explained.
Okay, all
right.
By
By this listener, that I remember. And so the key part of this is the actual gameplay is in a way inventory management upon inventory management upon inventory management, because like each cryptid is represented by like their inventory space. And then they have their stats, and then each of their inventory spaces, like some of them might have special buffs. Like it might be a smart cryptid, so like it has a smart inventory space. So any other cryptid that you have them like raise that goes in that smart inventory space gets the smart bonus. And then the cryptids that are next to each other impact each other. So you have to like... no examples were given, so I'm going to be making this up a little bit. Like a Bigfoot might be a strong cryptid, and it might not like Loch Ness monsters. So if you put a Bigfoot next to a Loch Ness monster, that gives you some indeterminable problem within the game.
Kind of like Zoo Tycoon.
Yeah, maybe both of their stats get bad, so that you have to send both of them to the coconut tree.
Okay.
And so yeah, you're managing like the positions of these cryptids within the inventories of other cryptids, and I'm mostly using inventory as like shorthand for like how a gamer like would recognize it if they were opening up this game and they were playing it. It seems like the screens would be a lot just like inventory management screens, like grid-based inventory managements, like Diablo 2's inventory, or even No Man's Sky. I don't think you have cryptids that make up multiple grid spaces in the inventory, but you could. That could be an expansion of the gameplay to like add levels of interest and engagement. So yeah, then you've got Bigfoot in his inventory. You've got little Bigfoot, little Loch Ness Monster. You keep them apart. You put the Loch Ness Monster in the smart slot, and then inside of Loch Ness Monster, you have your own inventory, and then that has like a swimming slot, and then you can put something in there, and then it's like its inventory is all the way down, endlessly cycling. I forget where the time travel component comes in. Okay. So, listener Larry,
I mean, you're picking them up in time, so that's one thing.
I think so, yeah.
That's what you said in the beginning. So.
And I don't know what the actual acquisition of cryptids within time looks like. It was mostly focused on the inventory management aspect of everything. And so that was listener Larry's idea that I don't recall having a name, but I'm going to call it Cryptid Time.
Cryptid Time. All right. Well, that sounds interesting. Kind of like a Tycoon / Pokemon style situation to me. Yeah.
Without expanding on the actual acquisition trait or sequence, like in my head, I'm literally picturing just like inventory upon inventory upon inventory.
I'm picturing like actual inventory. Like tanks and like fields and in this like other world. I mean, really what I am picturing is the Fantastic Beasts movie where they have the suitcase and then you go in it and then it's like all the pets environments.
I've never seen the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Well, it's better because they're bad, but...
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, let's talk about a fantastic game idea. What do you got for us?
Oh, boy. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be fantastic, but...
Is it going to be better than the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's not hard to do.
Okay.
That's not hard to do, but
Good.
So my game, I don't have a name for it either.
You gotta come up with a name.
I've been replaying Life is Strange in honor of the new one coming out soon.
Your game's name is Strange as Life.
No.
Oh, okay. That was a quick shutdown.
And I was talking to you earlier today because I was like, and I didn't tell you the game idea, so because we keep those secret. But I was kind of like, I don't know how to pitch a game. I kind of wanted to do like a Life is Strange which would be an adventure game that's like heavy on story.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like quite sure how to pitch that. And I feel like everything's been done, but that's not true.
No, we wouldn't have a podcast if everything had been done.
Yeah. So basically it is an adventure game, like a choice 'em up where you...
I love that you called it a choice 'em up.
Yeah.
And that is I'm not going to call them adventure games from now on. No. I'm going to call them choice 'em ups.
Yeah, so where the stories, it's really heavy in story, but there's lots of different like dialogue trees and choices that you can make that affect, the eventual game that you get to play.
The outcome.
But the twist on this one is it's kind of based on a game I pitched a long time ago about tropes, but this was like writing tropes. And then also kind of the show WandaVision, which had a lot more potential than it lived up to.
Also, I haven't seen that one.
Anyway, I'm going to describe it, but or the game. So the game idea is that you have the power to like travel through television. And also this is a trope in and of itself. Like we've seen so many episodes of TV, right, where they get stuck in TV, right?
Channel chasers.
Yeah. So I don't know what that is. Is that
I think show? Channel chasers is either a show or it's a specific episode of something. That might be the specific episode of Teen Titans where they first...
Oh, yep. There was
it's a 2004 film starring it's a Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, okay, yes. There's that. There's an Arthur episode where this happens. There's a Dead End Park episode where this happens. There's like
Dead End Park. Now that was a TV show.
Yeah, there's just a lot where basically you get sucked into a TV and then you're like acting out in the trope of that certain TV genre. Mm-hmm. And why it's fun in these like shows that I'm talking about is because like you get to see your show in a different way, right? It's like doing a cover of a pop song as a punk song, like.
Oh, I love Pop Goes Punk.
Yeah, exactly. So in this, you're trapped in the TV, And so each like episode, leaning into the Life is Strange mechanics, each episode, and also TV mechanics too, it's perfect, is a different genre of television. And the way that you escape eventually, like your goal is to like escape the TV, and is you have to, again, you have a knowledge of you have to have a knowledge of like TV tropes. So like you basically have to like play along in the show.
Oh, okay.
But there's going to be different ways to play along. So like you can set yourself up as like the villain, as like the hero, as the like funny person.
Oh, wait. So do you as the player get to choose your role, or do you have to figure out which role this episode like expects you to be?
I think it's more fun to kind of build your role as you go. So like the more funny options you pick, then like you start to get locked in. So like you have to like hold your character throughout the game. So like if you start being like the funny guy, then like by the final episode, if you pick anything that's not a joke, then like you're going to have to do it again. So like you're building your character maybe.
Okay. And so when you say do it again,
you have to do the level again. They don't let you leave the TV.
Okay. Now, is it like a rewind mechanic, or just like a game over, the episode starts again?
I think it's game over. It could also you could also do like a little like take two, back to one.
There we go.
That's not your line. Back to one.
All right. Okay. Get some director talk in there. All right. Film school student. All right.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the game, and I mean there would be more story to it. I just don't have it because that was part of.
We're not a story idea podcast.
No, and that was
a game idea.
Part of the trouble was it did feel like this kind of game is such a story game. It's like I just feel like I have to like basically pitch a novel in order to pitch a game like this. But then Isaac was like, no, just focus on the mechanic. Like in Life is Strange, it's the rewind, etc. So that's why in this one it's the TV tropes.
Yeah. Okay. TV Trops. You just have tvtropes.org open at all times.
I mean, if you did, you'd probably do really well in this game. So I'm not going to judge anyone who uses resources outside of the game, okay?
That's true. And you can't judge them because you'd never know. You'd make the game and it would go out there, and then you'd never know if people are like cheating or not.
On this podcast, I've said like it's exciting to when we talk about games or pitch them, I like thinking about how it's going to interact online, like what the forums will talk about, how they're going to try to hack it, how they're going to try to optimize things. Like, I don't know. I think that's part of gaming is the community and reading things about it. And
I just want every game that I ever touched to be speed ran.
That's true.
On the stage at GDQ.
I feel like Life is Strange would be a bad speed run.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's got like sequence break potential.
No, it would really just be like doing everything as fast as you can.
Yeah, and just like the fact that like you can't solve a lot of problems on the first try, like it forces you to fail before
unless like you said there is like some kind of wild sequence break where like you do some weird thing in episode 1 and then it jumps you to the end of episode 5. Like that's the only thing that could do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really. Yeah,
we're off topic. But yeah, that's my game. TVTropes.com. No.
Okay.
No, I don't have a name. Usually I have a name. I don't have a name. I'm sorry.
No, I said the name earlier, didn't I?
Strange was Life.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, are you sure?
What if it's just called Static? What if it's called
Life is Static?
No. What's the like beeps the screen with like the colors on it? Please Stand By. That's what it's called. Please Stand By.
Oh, okay. Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Your turn.
All right. I also don't have a name for my game, but I do have an idea. It could just be called Bigfoot Hunter.
Ooh, whoa. Okay, this is why you said this.
Yeah, because it's also about cryptids, but this one specifically is I don't want to say first-person shooter. It is a first-person game. I would consider it closest to like a horror game, like a lot like the Slender Man game that got really
powerful,
really powerful, really viral. So you would play the role of a Bigfoot hunter. You arrive at a cabin somewhere in the Pacific Northwest in a very isolated situation. You've got a pack of supplies. and you are on the hunt for Bigfoot. The actual mechanics of the game, so it's going to be like a immersive sim, which is a kind of genre of like first-person shooter, in that things will be simulated to an extent. So like you will have like a hunger bar, a stamina bar. You will have a I have to go to the bathroom, number 1 and number 2 bar, because one thing that I want is, because you're out there in the Pacific Northwest, isolated, hunting Bigfoot, there are other animals out there. So you cannot just poo or pee randomly. You have to go through the process of, you have to have a shovel, you have to dig a hole, you have to go do your business in the hole, and then you have to bury it. Otherwise, you attract bobcats, you attract bears.
And then game over.
And then game over, because they will attack you, and, you know, you'll never find Bigfoot that way. The day-to-day business, right? You have this cabin, it's kind of dilapidated. You can fix it up using resources that you find out in the wild. You do have a single computer at the cabin that is connected to the internet, with which you can communicate to the outside world. But your main thing that you're doing is you are finding Bigfoot evidence, bagging it up. So like fur samples, plaster casts, which you have to have the plaster available.
Goodness.
And you also have to actually mix the plaster and pour it in the hole and wait for it to dry and then retrieve it. And you sell these using your computer. You like sell them online, and like there's like a delivery truck or something.
Okay.
Now, truck, it's too isolated for like a truck, but like a little like unmanned robot thing that like comes up to your cabin to facilitate. Like there needs to be some mechanic for actually like selling this stuff to get more resources. For you to buy batteries, ammo, upgraded like plaster. You have to buy new plaster. You have to like buy food and stuff. And the reason I want you to have to like do all this tedious stuff like digging holes and whatnot is because I want to play up like the horror aspect of this a little bit. I want you to be in the Pacific Northwest, hundreds of miles from civilization, at night with only a dying flashlight, mixing plaster in the rain while you hear twigs snap in the darkness around you, and like grunts and stuff. Because if you don't get this plaster cast, you can't afford food or batteries to like continue the quest. And I think that would be a very scary thing if you're like bought into the immersion of the game. I think that you as a player would actually like feel that fear being in like that kind of situation. I that's my theory, at least. This is me really trying to like have mechanics of games that encourage thought processes and feelings in the actual like player.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think definitely making it a what is it, resource management game, but like horror is good, because like you said, there's like a lot you have to think about at once, and then you're like scared, so it makes it harder to think about everything at once. Have you played Slenderman?
I have not actually played the Slenderman game.
So my question is, how, like, so you hear Bigfoot coming. Are you trying to kill Bigfoot, capture Bigfoot? Like, are you setting a trap for Bigfoot? If Bigfoot finds you, do you lose the game? Like, what's the
Yeah. So in my head, Bigfoot is kind of a mostly unseen adversary. Like, you will catch glimpses of him. I don't think that the game ends with you like having a final confrontation with Bigfoot. I don't think you actually get to hunt him. And I think that the times that you do come face to face with him is a game over situation. Like if you do not bury your poop correctly, if you do not secure your cabin well, like.
So is there no win case in this?
So the win case, this is the part that I haven't meant, that I forgot completely. So there is a storyline as you're doing all this. You are also trying to solve what happened to the previous Bigfoot hunter.
Okay, got it.
That was there before you. Find out what happened to him, where he is, et cetera, because he's been missing for some time.
That makes sense. That's
and then,
good.
like, you're also... So there's... Hold on. I actually wrote down a series of questions.
Good.
That...
I can't believe you almost forgot. You wrote stuff down.
Yeah. Oh, I only wrote down 2 questions. It's like finding the notes and the other traces of the last Bigfoot hunter, like find out what happened to him, and then who is the benefactor behind this mission really is another plot line
I like
that
it.
you're following. And so really the win condition is finishing that story out, finding all of the hints and like letting that build up, because as I said, there's that one computer attached to like the internet at home base. That you can, like, that's how you communicate with said benefactor and, like, send them the evidence that you find, and then, like, they'll start acting weirdly, and then you have to find, like, things in your woods that point out what they are.
One thing I really like about what you're describing is it feels very, like old gamey. Like, it feels like Myst or, like, Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
But also Slenderman. You know, like, I see where you're going with that kind of vibe. I like that a lot. I do have a proposal.
Okay.
So
yes,
I find it a little.
I will marry.
You already are gonna marry.
I already agreed to it. We have a date.
All right. So, the one thing story wise, which I know isn't mechanic, but it does interact with the mechanic, is like the fact that you'd be selling the evidence feels counterintuitive to me as a Bigfoot hunter / mystery solver. You'd want to keep the evidence to build your evidence for the case of like where this person is and Bigfoot, etc. Also, I cannot imagine Bigfoot artifacts getting a lot of money. So, wait, my proposal is that instead you have to do silly crafts, and then it's even worse because you're like collecting vines to like knit bracelets with.
Oh my God.
and that's so like kind of like I was thinking, you know, like a monastery or an abbey where they make like lace and mead and stuff like that. So to support the lifestyle. So you have to like do woodland crafts that the robot would collect.
So, okay, that maybe a supplement, because like I guess the idea isn't that you're like selling on eBay. You're selling to the benefactor that I mentioned in the story. Well,
but if you're
or like the benefactor is paying you for work.
I mean, okay, but if you want the like, if that's true, then like you would be getting they would be demanding like, hey, you have to send me this many things by whatever date.
That would be an interesting mechanic, actually.
Yeah, like I think that would be better.
Because you could track time, and having these, that would also increase like the thought of panic.
Right. So I think switch it to that. So like the benefactor is basically bankrolling your whole operation.
Yeah.
But like they have really strict requirements, they have a lot of demands, and you have to like meet them by specific times.
Okay,
if you don't send them this, they won't send you like water that week or whatever. So
So it's like it's not that you're scared because you won't be able to afford lunch tomorrow if you don't get this plaster cast. I mean, it is, but it's like your benefactor would get really mad,
right? And that also helps the benefactor mystery. Like you can work that into that whole plot. Yeah.
So that's Bigfoot Hunter.
Cool.
I feel like there's a better name for it than Bigfoot Hunter, because Bigfoot Hunter isn't like a horror game.
Right.
Secrets of the Squatch.
Okay.
That's all we got, folks.
Okay. Well,
Secrets of the Squatch.
I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave that. Actually, I'm not even gonna touch that.
We love Secrets of the Squatch, folks. Secrets of the Squatch, the scariest game you'll play all year. Yeah, let's talk about something else. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about what you wanted to talk about, which was morality systems in games.
Yeah, they suck, don't they?
I don't know.
They're stupid.
Do they suck?
None of them make any sense.
I'm not sure if I've ever played a game with it.
They're all bad. Oh, okay. All
right. Have I? We'll find out.
I don't think that you have. Okay, so let me lay down some groundwork for you. Usually in video games, the idea of having like in open-ended games, the idea of having like good and evil is an appealing one. It inherently has some level of replayability because you're like, oh, this time I'm going to be an evil character and I'm going to do evil things. This time I'm going to do good things. I'm going to be a good character, Maybe you'll walk the line and you'll maintain neutrality. The problem is I don't think I've ever seen a well-implemented good and evil like morality system.
All right.
There's a famous case. Fallout 3 has a good and evil system, right? The problem is you can kill like every NPC in the game. Like you can be the biggest arsehole in the wasteland and walk around and just like literally be evil, like genocide people. But there's like one homeless person that if you give him enough bottles of water, you're an angel. Everyone,
so it's
you're
like
sanctified.
broken. Yeah.
It's broken. And like it's very hard to like code around that, right? It's very hard when.
I mean, couldn't you just say like every person you kill is worth a certain amount? So like you would never be able to like.
I mean, that's what it is, but there is
up.
eventually a maximum amount of like you can.
You can only get so bad.
You can only get so bad. So like, let's say it's like 100, like a total of 200 points. You can either be 100 good or 100 evil, right? So negative 100 to 100. Every person you kill gives you 1 point. You kill 100 people. Oh, it only takes 100 bottles of water, which give you 1 point each, because that's a good act. To get back to neutral, 100 more, you get back to.
Okay.
You get back to sainthood.
Okay.
And then you become a saint, and then you just massacre people. And Fable was a game for the Xbox that had this system, or also for the PC. There was an item, you could have a chick, like a chicken chick, and you could eat them whole, and it would give you evil points. And there was like a pie that would give you like good points. And that one was funny because it would be like, all right, for this next quest, I want to be evil. So I'm going to buy 200 like chicks.
Oh my goodness.
And then just eat them whole. And then that also had like a weight system. So like your character would actually visibly get chubby from eating so much food. So you'd be chubby and evil. It was great. All because you just ate handfuls of like baby chickens. Obviously, I never did that. I love chickens.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think because I've never played a game with a morality system that I know of, then I'm not really sure.
There's not much of a discussion.
I mean, okay, well, let's see. Like The Sims kind of have it. You can be evil in The Sims, but
Can you be evil?
Yeah.
What does that entail?
I don't know.
And how is that measured?
Yeah, I think it's...
Because, like, you as the player can do evil things, but it doesn't track, like, you've drowned your, like, 4 Sims in the pool by removing the ladder. Like, it doesn't track that.
Right, so it's more like making your Sim... You can make... Okay, I guess they can't be evil. You can make them, like, hated by other Sims, but that's different.
So that is a kind of system that does what... And now here's, I guess, the real game design talk here. Like, what's a more useful system than good and evil? Because if we take my thesis that good evil systems
are not good,
are inherently not good, which can be wrong. I just have never seen it like worked out, and I think that the effort of making it work out is much higher than like the actual benefit that you get from including it in your game. But like personal relationships is an area where it makes sense. Like,
Mr. Smith hates you.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith hates you. What consequence? Like, having that have a meaningful consequence in the game, because like random NPC number 245 hating you doesn't matter. So like you are gonna pickpocket him and do whatever, and like that I think is what the evil system is. Like, oh, you did an evil act that like isn't otherwise going to affect the game, but we still want to track that somehow.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think that's what good and evil is trying to solve. That like what people think about you doesn't solve. But then
I guess the question to solve this question is like what is the point of having it? Like, is it to create different endings in games? Does it give you more options? Like, what are we getting here?
Yeah, I think both. Like opening up, like if you meet a certain level of evil, having new dialogue options, having new ability, like Knights of the Old Republic. I have not played, so I don't know if this is how it works, but I'm just going to assume based on how things are like shown in the movies, Force Lightning is like a Sith power. So I think in order, like in those kinds of like Star Wars RPGs, in order, you would have to be a certain level of evil in order to get the coolest Jedi or Force power in the universe, Force Lightning.
Okay.
Which I think that encourages people to get 15 evil points, learn Force Lightning, and then just do whatever they would normally do for the rest of the game. But I've never actually played like a Star Wars good evil game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess it
Light
is
side, dark side. Sorry.
whatever. It's interesting. I don't know. Real quick though, one of the consequences of Sims not liking you in Sims 2 is they'll come and knock your trash over, and then the trash will be stinky.
Wow, in your yard?
Yeah, it'll be stinky in your yard.
Amazing.
And it's funny. Anyway, because otherwise there's not also that many consequences. But yeah, I'm thinking about Life is Strange as well, because there's a little bit of morality in that.
It doesn't so Life is Strange 2 has a morality system, which, if I remember your honks and bonks correctly, was a pain point, because it doesn't give you any, and it's not, I guess it's not really good evil, because it's very specific, like, moral lessons. Yeah. It's like, where are you good or evil when it comes to murdering animals? Like,
yeah, it's particular. And I think the issue I had with it is it's not, which, I mean, again, like we were talking earlier today, that like they were trying stuff. Like this game was really trying stuff. It just, I don't think it landed. And I think they knew that, because none of the other games have been like that ever since. But
so that reminds me, Fallout 3 with the good evil system.
They just dropped that.
Fallout New Vegas was a third-party, like, it's based off of the Fallout 3 engine, but it wasn't made by the company that made Fallout 3. You could call it, like, a very big, like, mod, almost, that they sold. So they still have the good evil system, but they have made it, like, not matter in their New Vegas. It's Fallout New Vegas. They basically made it not matter at all. Like, it still happens, I think, because they had to include it because it was already part of the game. But what they do is they have faction reputation. So every town and every NPC is associated with a faction. And, like, I don't think NPCs care about, like, on a personal level, whether that NPC likes you, but if you, like, make an NPC in one faction mad, that transfers to the entire faction.
Very Blades in the Dark.
Yes. Having never played, sure.
No, because it's Blades in the Dark is very crew based, and so like your crew can like.
Oh yeah, can be friends or enemies with other crew, and like that's how they track it. And I think that because that has real consequences, like not every town, but like some towns will have like their own faction. So like if you make the people in town A mad and otherwise are a good person to town B, like town A, they'll shoot you on sight. Town B, they'll give you discounts at the store. Yeah, so and I think that's and all the entire time you also have the karma system, which I have not found anything where that like, oh, you've got bad karma for pickpocketing that person, but like that also has the faction the faction ration change, and that's what matters. I've not found anything in the game where karma matters. So I think that after like the backlash of people being like, this good evil system, like this karma system sucks, I can just give this homeless person water and it cancels out all my misdeeds. I think this new company was like, all right, scrap that. Here's a more meaningful system to add on top of it.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, going back to Life is Strange, because we didn't finish that.
Sorry, yeah, just you mentioned they dropped it, and yes, it seems like this game
also
the new developers also dropped it.
Yeah, so because what made it unique and what they were trying at is like your actions affected the morality of an NPC, basically. Yeah. And that was wild. That was a wild time.
Yeah, they basically like learned from you.
Yeah, which like I guess makes a statement about raising children. But
cool idea, but fun to play. Debatable.
It's debatable.
I'm sure some people had fun with Life is Strange.
Honestly, I want someone to write an absolute rave for it, and we'll read it on the pod, because I would love to hear a Life is Strange 2 like
bonus episode.
Yeah, like absolute
we read reviews.
Absolute fan, because I believe they're out there. But anyway, yeah, so I think, I mean, and again, going back to Life is Strange, I think they do a similar thing to what you were just describing in New Vegas, but instead of crews, it's individual characters, but like, you know, you can make enemies with the principal, or you can make friends with the principal, or you can, you know, like you can.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is it doesn't feel like that's actually like a variable stored for the principal himself. That feels like it's a series of game flags, which, as far as the player goes, that's meaningless words, but as like a game developer, like breaking it down, that
Well, that's what we want to do.
Is a nuanced, different thing.
Yeah, actually, I don't know what that is. So why don't you break that down? What a game flag versus...
Oh, so game flag is basically just like a true-false variable, like whether you've done a specific thing or not.
Okay.
So instead, like, and this is like so subtle, like this is like almost pedantic, right? The principle not having like a scale of 0 to 100 how much they like you, but instead it has you made choice A, you made choice B, and then that determines that later on in the game you get
a certain action or not.
Yeah, it's like if A true equals true and B equals true, then play scene.
Yep.
Whatever.
Which I guess when you describe it like that, it actually isn't really a morality system at all, because it's more of like a tree.
Yeah, but the effect of the player
is you feel evil or good.
Yes, exactly. It has the same effect without doing the same thing. I mean, yeah, it's like literally just flagging, oh, you made this choice as opposed to that choice, instead of like assigning any sort of like...
Yeah.
And basically, it's you only have 0 and 100.
I actually, what's funny is I reposted on my own Instagram a little meme that was like, people thought video games cause violence, whereas I'm here sweating over saying a mean thing to an NPC. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yes.
Very true. But yeah, I think, so thinking through, like, I think what we've come to is that if you're going to use any kind of morality, it's got to be like meaningful to the story and have actual impacts
on gameplay
and the story and your emotions as a player, but not to make it like so gamified that you can, like you said, like do 100 water bottles and it's just like now you're good again.
Like the water bottles thing, and then the like locking abilities one way or the other. Like you have to make it more meaningful than I'm gonna be evil, get the cool thing, and then be good again, or I'm gonna be good, get the healing power, and then be evil.
Like I don't know. Yeah, I mean that does bother me. So, but I don't think that, to me, I don't think you should I don't think you shouldn't lock powers away behind good and evil. I think that actually makes it interesting and like replayable.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think the way to do it, maybe this is impossible to program, I don't know, but I would say like no limit. So like different actions have different weights as to good and evil. Like killing someone could be like 10 points, negative 10 points or whatever. And you literally
you have to have a limit, but you can have that limit be so high
that you couldn't
be meaningless.
So that way, yeah, I would say do that, because that way, if you did kill like 1,000 people, there's no amount of water bottles that could ever...
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess there would be an amount, but like it would take so long and be so tedious that like most people wouldn't do it.
You could also flag certain actions as like irreparable points. Yes. So like murdering someone you
can never get that back.
Yeah. You will always be like the game will always remember that you have murdered a person.
Like pickpocketing, maybe like that you can like redeem yourself, but like...
Yeah, so like if it's like negative 100 to 100, negative 100 being like ultimate good. You murder 15 people, the most you can ever get is negative 85 good. So you can never re-get to 100.
Yeah. I like that
outside
actually.
Like, and you could even have like a super rare, like super hard like quest or item that you can retrieve that will like give you like one
like
redemption,
an opportunity,
one redemption, and then you... although that does make it like meaningless, because that then drives you back to we can't include that. We have to have these sins are so grave your soul becomes irredeemable. And we have but does it make sense to have acts so good that you can never like be fully sinful again? Or do we maybe, because we can have this misbalanced, we can make it so it's easier to be evil than it is to be good. I mean,
that really makes a statement, doesn't it?
It does make a statement.
I will say I think it depends on the game, because right now we're talking amorphous mechanic.
That's true. Yes.
And so it depends on what the game is going for. Like if it has certain acts that are like 100% good and that can lock you into certain good points, great. I think it is more interesting to make it easier to be evil, and then
I think
that's really interesting. But again, I think it depends on the whole game as a whole, which we're not talking about right now. But very cool. I also that briefly, I love Blades in the Dark. This is an RPG, but table TTRPG.
Yeah.
But it does have consequence for murder, which I think is really interesting because D&D does not. Well, D&D could in the story arc, but like this has like a mechanic consequence. If you kill someone, you automatically gain a certain amount of heat for your crew, which is pretty like that can affect a lot of gameplay later on. So like you have to actually think about it. Like you have to be like, crap, like,
is this murder worth the heat?
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that because, again, in games like D&D, people are kind of just like, let's kill everyone. And
that does make me think, I wonder if Baldur's Gate has, because the alignment is a big thing in D&D. Less so in modern times, but it used to be a bigger thing. I think they've been cutting back on it a lot. But I'm wondering if they actually have alignments in Baldur's Gate 3 as
I was
like
thinking about Baldur's Gate
things
during this discussion, actually.
Yeah, I've been playing my reference at the beginning was to Divinity Original Sins 2 where you play as a character type called a Godwoken. Like that's what's happening in the game. Spoiler alert. And they don't have any form of good evil morality system. I think individual characters have or factions have like their opinions of you, which, as we've said, is like the superior system anyways. That was the previous game by Larian Studios, which made Baldur's Gate 3. I'm wondering if when they made Baldur's Gate 3, they were like obligated to include alignment because that's like a D&D thing, and what did they do with it? So all right, folks, I gotta play Baldur's Gate 3.
You gotta bite the bullet.
At the end of the day, that's what I gotta do here.
Rats.
Right as soon as I finish Divinity Original Sins 2. And then I can judge the games against each other and see which one Larian did the better job at.
You better buy it before No Spend Ember starts.
Which it already
No, it starts on the 3rd.
Oh, that's true.
It already, for the listeners.
I wonder if it's on sale for Labor Day.
Ooh, okay. Well, anyway, we did our pitches. We did our discussion. It's time for the final round of the podcast, which is the rapid fire round. That's where we generate 3 random words. We come up with a game idea based on those 3 words, and we come up with a name for that game, all in 5 minutes. It's pretty exciting. Are you ready?
Someone call it a riot.
Some would call it a riot. And if you read our description of our show, everyone would.
That's my copy. I wrote it. I'm sticking with it.
I do realize we never do credits on this show. Like Isaac did the music too. So, and I edit it. We never say that.
Oh, yeah. We never credit the artists.
No.
Okay, well we'll try
us.
it. Yeah, it's just us. We just do it.
We just do it. But anyway.
We don't have employees.
All right,
yet.
ready?
I'm gonna start it in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. I like these. Bible, relaxation, explain.
Okay, can it be a game where you are a what's the term? Sycophant? Is that what I'm thinking of?
I know what you're thinking.
Proselytizer.
Yeah.
You're that, and at a beach, a bunch of people are just trying to relax, and like you walk up to them and like you hold the A button, right? Just imagine a controller. You've got an A button. You hold that button down, and your character just stands there and like pulls out a Bible and starts reading from it. And all the people nearby you are listening, and they like try to move away, and you got to chase them down and like keep reading after them and stuff.
So it's a silly game.
So it's a silly game. And they all have like a little halo above their head that, as you read to them, fills up more.
So like the more people you quote unquote save, like you.
Yeah, they become like your minions almost.
And they can follow you.
And
now you're more powerful.
Okay. And maybe like you can have them automatically like proselytize. What?
Proselytize, I think.
Proselytize?
No, I don't know.
Whatever. But you get where I'm going with this.
Evangelize.
Yeah, you are just converting as many people as possible using.
But I think we need to have it be difficult. Like people are trying to relax, so like you have to like get in the right position and like catch them at the right time, or they'll just ignore you, and then their halo goes away. Oh no.
Yeah. Yes. But here's an interesting thing. Each person can have like a different like basic Halo level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have like a certain speed that you can increase Halos at, and then that's modified by like who they are as a person. And so like you can get kicked out of places. Like security, that's the obstacle. Security,
okay, gotcha.
If you pester people, security will kick you out. But if you have enough like people that you've converted, they'll run interference on security for you and buy you more time.
Okay.
And so that's why you are recruiting these more people. So you have to pick people that are like vulnerable, who like are their Halos are already almost full, or will like fill at a fast rate. Like they're susceptible to.
But when you get, I think
your
the harder gets are like worth more points or something, because you have to like incentivize people going for like tough. Okay, maybe so there's like, I also think that we should probably make it not the Christian Bible. Let's just like a random Bible.
Oh, did I say Christian?
No, I just want to make it clear.
It's just a Bible.
That this is a Bible, and
so the problem with that is Bible.
Is that the
I'm
only
pretty
thing?
sure, because Bible is just like Bible is a word that just means book. Is my understanding, like bibliography?
I mean, yeah, it is capitalized in the words, so it is like the Bible.
If we call it a Bible, the implications are extremely strong already.
I mean,
there's no way of avoiding that this will be a fairly.
I mean,
like we can just call it the Bible or a Bible without specific, but everyone will know exactly what it is. Like there's. Like, we can dance around it as much as we can.
I guess I'm willing to take that chance.
Yes, yeah.
So, all right. Well, we will call it...
Prostilla... No, here, I'm doing a bit, though. It's prostillita... ... Prosetilla... ... Prostabada... ... Convert.
Okay. I mean, only if it's played in the silly block at Games Done Quick.
Okay. But you got what my joke was?
Okay.
Everyone at home, listeners, you got where I was going with that?
Okay.
All right.
Because
that's the kind of thing that's hard to convey in verbiage. It's more of a text joke. Anyways, so we're good with that name?
I'm going to keep it. You worked really hard for that one,
right.
so I'm going to give it to you.
Good. 30 seconds left.
Oh, good. Well, then, we needed to keep it. Okay. Are you
now, that's going to be our episode title.
No. We want people to click on this, unless we don't. Unless we want
it.
No, I don't want anyone to think we're writing about the prostate out here. So, because it will cut off. It will cut off like most of that title. Yeah.
You don't want people thinking about the prostate out here.
Okay, let's get our next 3 words.
All right.
It's prostate now.
Ready, steady, go.
Brain, uncertainty, cylinder.
Oh my god.
But do you already have a game idea?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
It's just cylinder. It's just so not like... Okay.
No. So cylinder, because it's like cylinder in a car. They go like... They run a motor.
Oh, okay. All right. This is a direction I wasn't expecting.
But it's a brain that is run like a car.
Okay.
And you are controlling it. So
All
you're
right.
controlling the brain of a person. And you're uncertain about that.
Okay, but like,
no, I know.
What's that gameplay?
I guess I don't know. We can't make the rapid fires always silly, but they are often silly.
They are often silly. We're trying to make them silly.
How about
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
Let's go with
and a brain in a jar. Jars are cylinders.
I don't know the Heisenberg thing. I was gonna say.
Oh, that was just 2 unrelated thoughts.
Okay.
I was thinking.
I was gonna say like let's do like a Inspector Gadget situation.
Okay.
So like this was a person who had a real brain, but now they have a robot brain, and so you don't have memories.
Okay.
So you're like the little man controlling the robot in the body, and you have to collect memories to piece the person back together.
Okay, so we could make this like a Metroidvania where like the memories unlock new powers.
Okay.
But an angle that I don't know how much we want to explore, but I thought of as you were talking about it. What if you completely had to figure out the controls on your own?
Oh,
like nothing ever popped up and told you what to do.
So like literally the whole game is just trying to like walk to a door or something, but like it takes.
Well, it gets more like it would like have a normal game with no tutorial and like the basics. Like, okay, here's how to move the camera. Here's how to move like which button jumps. is it A? Is it B? You know, which button is the basic attack? But then there's the more complicated things, like you'll have to figure out like combos. Like if I do a punch jump and then like another button, like it jumps into the air and then slams down.
I mean, I do think
something.
we're picturing completely different games, but it's fine.
Okay.
Because you're picturing like a platformer, like a.
No, I was thinking like a 3D.
Okay, I was thinking 3D too. But
I was thinking like an Elden Ring kind of.
Okay.
Situation.
I just didn't think there'd be any fighting. I think you're just kind of like peacefully wandering around.
Oh, but fighting adds so much more potential, like because like.
Okay, well then if we go with the Inspector Gadget, you could be like a secret agent.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. All right. Well, there we go. Now let's name it.
V6 gadget. I don't know. V6 brain. Because that's like the
Synapse V6.
I think I like that. I'm not fully ready to commit to it, but like Synapse V6, because like V6, like that's 6 cylinders. Maybe 6-cylinder investigator. 6-cylinder spy. Because that's like
6-cylinder spy is fun. Yeah,
that's pretty catchy. 6-cylinder spy.
Yeah, I think. That's
okay,
catchy.
1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock.
You're naming a lot of these games. That is a rarity. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I'm doing it. I did that.
You did that.
Wow.
And you did the last one too.
Normally I don't do that.
No, so this is great. All right, ready for the final rapid fire?
I am.
The episode.
It's starting on the count of D. 1, 3, D.
Great. Variant. Park. Argument.
Okay. Folks, what's your idea?
No.
Listener.
They can't call in. This isn't live.
Oh no. Are you sure?
Are you sure
it's
positive?
Not oh no.
I mean, I probably could get listener Meghna on the horn if we needed to, but all right, variant park argument. So I was thinking park could be like a park to play, or it could be like parking a car. What if it's like
to play?
Yeah, like you play in a park.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Like that
all right,
kind
gotcha.
of a park. What if it's like a Rashomon?
Okay, so are you the detective interviewing all of the people?
Yes, there's a big argument at a park, and each person has a different variant of the story, and you have to piece together the story. There it is. That's the game.
Now, okay. Question. Do you have to solve, like, do you as a character have to make a judgment in the story, like, on, like, the truth? And if so, does that matter? Like, in order to win the game, do you have to find the correct story, the correct version of events? Or do you get to decide what version of events that you want to believe and act accordingly? So there is a game, and this is, I mean, we're timed, but I want to talk about this. There's this game.
You want to talk about it after, maybe?
Okay, fine. Yeah, fine.
But we'll definitely talk about it. But, like,
yes.
I think you should choose. I kind of like that, like, you would choose someone and the game would tell you if it's wrong, potentially, because that way the puzzle is real, but then, like, it wouldn't tell you anything else. So you just have to, like, play again, basically, if you ever wanted to figure it out.
So I guess my problem... No, I guess that's... no. In that scenario, it's not a problem. I was going to say my problem would be, like, you wouldn't actually have to pay attention to anything. Like, you would get, like, every, like, selection would just be like choosing a character to believe, and you wouldn't even have to interact with any of them, and you just get like the ending.
No, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Just don't play the ending until
easy speed run.
It wouldn't let you go to the ending until you've talked to everyone, obviously.
That's yeah.
It wouldn't have an option to, like, okay, blame that lady. Like, that just wouldn't be an option. That's how you game design. Yeah, it could be, but it wouldn't be, because that would be bad.
But all right, so how replayable is it? Like, is this a 15-minute, like, just kind of like, wasn't that a neat little thing? No, it's a long
time. It's a long game. So I'm imagining it that, like, every time you interview someone, you are physically transported back to, like, their take of the story, and then, like Life is Strange, you get to, like, investigate that world and, like, look at clues, but, like, each person has a different perspective. So, like, there would be some overlap. Like you might see the same like book page, but then maybe in one person's view, you can see like a note written in the book. Whereas like in the other view, it wasn't there because they never saw that note. Or like someone was wearing a blue shirt in one, but then they're wearing like a pink shirt in another.
Okay.
So
I didn't pick this up from what you were saying, but I like this a lot where each world is an investigative like level.
Yeah, but it's the same park and it's the same situation, but things change based on who you're like quote unquote interviewing.
Okay, so just like Life is Strange, like you as the player don't need to like piece anything together yourself because the story will eventually unfold as you find all these different clues, and like you'll make the choices, but like you'll eventually get to the same endpoint as long as you don't get a game over.
I would like to make this game.
This is
actually
cool game. This is a cool game idea. This is
TM, I'm taking it.
All right, what's it called then?
A Day at the Park.
A Day at the Park. You're gonna TM.
No, it's tough though. How much time do we have left?
We have 49 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, we're putting that in the back pocket. Park mystery. Time of day.
You could call it, let's say that there's 7 people that you have to interview, 7 stories.
Yeah, that's kind of boring.
Ooh, okay, you're right. You're right. All right, I confess. All right.
I want to go. I don't know. I like A Day at the Park, but that also sounds boring.
And it doesn't indicate to you at all.
No. How much time? We
have 20 seconds.
Okay. Detective of the park. Park horror.
No,
we actually already named something.
Yeah.
To name some. Okay, Day at the Park. I have to name it.
All
I'm
right,
not
fine.
losing.
Day at the Park. 4 seconds left.
I'm not losing this because you don't like A Day at the Park.
I just think, imagine if Life is Strange was just like Arcadia Bay.
I mean, Life is Strange is also not that snappy of a title. Like Life is Strange. Okay. Like it doesn't tell you anything about the gameplay or the storyline or anything like that.
That's true. All right. Sorry.
Also, Life, like the other ones are like True Colors. Like, okay, again, that doesn't only hints at the gameplay.
Yeah.
A little taste. Okay, talk about the game you were going to talk about.
All right. So I haven't actually played it myself, so I cannot speak too deeply on it. But from interviews with the maker, it's called Pentiment. It's by, hold on, let me look it up so I can actually say this correctly. I know like one of the like designers or the head of the studio, but I don't remember exactly.
You know personally? Or?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, it's Obsidian Entertainment. It's the same company that made Fallout New Vegas that threw out the Good Evil system. So it's called Pentiment. You are like a 16th century detective, effectively, investigator. And you go around the countryside and like you find like there's crimes and you listen to the witnesses of all that. And then you decide who the criminal is and they get punished. And then you move on to the next thing. I don't know if this is a twist. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but the interesting thing about it is from these interviews, the games don't care whether you're right or wrong. You have the power to basically execute people at will. And it's the 16th century or 15th century. Like it's early on enough where like no one...
There's
like,
no fingerprints. There's no DNA.
Yeah, there's no like actual way to investigate these things. So like the people that you like punish that have consequences on the story, but it's not like the game is like, no, you executed the wrong person. No, you executed someone. That crime's over. You have to now live with the consequences.
That is really interesting.
Of this world that you've now created.
Yeah.
Where, the innkeeper was executed for the crime and maybe she wasn't actually the criminal. Maybe now and so I own the game and I just have not carved out time to actually play it.
Well,
but so hopefully I'll report back on how accurate of an assessment that game that was.
Like a really interesting gameplay. Maybe you can honk and bonk it.
Ooh.
We haven't done one of those in a long time.
No, we haven't.
All right. Well, I think that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're done here.
We're done here.
Pack it up.
Okay. We do live stream once a month. Our September is going to be on the 21st at 11:30 a.m. Eastern in September. Isaac's looking at his calendar. It's going to be wrong. I moved it. So it's going to be wrong. I haven't moved it yet. I moved it out loud just now.
our current schedule is the 14th.
I know. It's the.
Oh,
I'm
you've
moving
moved
it to the 21st.
Oh, I thought you were like saying. Okay, no, sorry. All right, I get you. All right.
Yeah. All right. So
It's now the 21st. It's
the
not
21st.
the 14th.
It's not the 14th.
Okay.
11:30 a.m. Eastern, and we do it at twitch.tv/makethatgame. And Isaac will be streaming, but we don't know why yet.
Yeah.
And then you can also find us on YouTube. Make that game.
You can go. Hold on.
Yeah.
You can go to https :/ and ignore all that. Makethatgame.com.
You can, and it's a really good website.
I'm a web designer by trade.
Yep.
So prepare yourselves
It's really good
for how intense of a web page this is going to be, because this is my profession.
Yeah. So when you go there, you might be a little shocked.
And when you get there, we may have even added all these links that Claire is about to say.
That would be
we
pretty
might
fancy.
not have.
We might not have. It depends. I don't know. Depends how the rest of the day goes.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you can go to makethatgame.com. You can go to youtube.com/@makethatgame. You can also find us on social media, Make That Game Pod, and you can email us makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave us a rating and review on Spotify or iTunes. I'm going to push Spotify right now because we're at like a 4.3, and I think we can get that up.
Yeah.
So,
whoa, 4.3.
Yeah. So
that's not 5.
Let's get that up, and then yeah, music by Isaac and editing by me. And if you heard
me is Claire. Me is Isaac, but me in that sense was Claire.
I'm not used to adding it into the spiel. But anyway, if you heard a game today that you think you just need to play, well, the only way to play it is if you make it. So you got to get out there and make that game.